Ladies and gentlemen, sometimes we ask God for signs, not realizing he's been speaking the whole time. We want thunder, lightning, and a loud voice from the sky, but God usually whispers. He nudges. He rearranges things quietly while we're busy complaining about what didn't work out. The truth is, if you look closely, God has been guiding your life all along. You just didn't know what to call it. There are moments in life when you do everything right. You show up prepared, you pray, you plan, you work hard, and still the door doesn't open. You don't get the call back. The relationship ends without explanation. The opportunity you were sure was meant for you slips through your fingers. In those moments, it's easy to feel rejected, overlooked, or forgotten. But often, what feels like rejection is actually God's protection working quietly in your favor. God sees what you can't see. He knows what's behind doors you're begging to walk through. Some doors look good from the outside, but behind them are stress, distraction, heartbreak, or delay that will cost you your purpose. When God closes a door, it's not because you weren't good enough. It's because that path wasn't good for you. If God allowed everything you wanted, some of it would destroy the very future you're praying for. Many times we hold on to situations because our emotions are attached. We stay in relationships that drain us, jobs that limit us, environments that keep us small. God, in his mercy, will step in and shut things down when we don't have the strength to walk away ourselves. A closed door saves you from years of pain you didn't even know were waiting on the other side. Think about how many times you look back and said, I'm glad that didn't work out. At the time, it hurt. It confused you. But later, clarity showed up. You realized the delay redirected you to something better, something healthier, something more aligned with who you were becoming. That's how God guides, through prevention, not just provision. Closed doors also build trust. They force you to stop relying on your own understanding and start leaning on faith. When things don't go as planned, God is teaching you that his plan is greater than your preferences. You may not understand the no right now, but every no is making room for a better yes. Sometimes the door closes because you're not ready yet. God may be protecting the blessing from you until you're prepared to handle it. What you're asking for requires more discipline, more character, more maturity than you currently have. So instead of opening the door, God works on you. He develops your patience, strengthens your faith, and sharpens your focus so that when the right opportunity arrives, you won't mishandle it. Closed doors also teach humility. They remind us that we are not in control. God is. And once you accept that, peace replaces frustration. You stop fighting what God is trying to fix. You stop forcing what God is trying to remove. You begin to trust the timing, even when it hurts. Every closed door is not an ending, it's a redirection. God doesn't close one door without preparing another. You just can't see the next door yet because it's on a higher level. The delay is not denial, it's development. So the next time something doesn't work out, don't curse the closed door. Thank God for it. Thank him for protecting you from what you couldn't protect yourself from. Trust that if it didn't open, it wasn't meant to hold your future. Remember this, God never closes a door to hurt you. He closes doors to guide you. And when the right door opens, it will lead you closer to the life you were always meant to live. There are moments in life when everything around you says you should be worried. The bank account looks uncertain. The future feels unclear. The pressure is real and the problems are loud. Yet somehow deep inside you feel calm. Not because the situation is easy, not because you have all the answers, but because something within you refuses to panic. That kind of peace doesn't come from logic or planning. That peace is a sign that God is guiding your life. Peace in the middle of chaos is not natural, it's spiritual. When the world around you is shaking but your spirit remains steady, it means God is already handling what you cannot. While you're tempted to overthink, God is already ahead of you, arranging things you can't see yet. Peace is God's way of telling you, I've got this. Most people think peace comes after the problem is solved, but faith teaches us something different. God often gives you peace before the breakthrough arrives. He calms your heart before he changes your circumstances. That peace is confirmation that you're not walking this road alone. If God were not involved, anxiety would dominate your thoughts. But when God is guiding you, he guards your heart. This kind of peace doesn't mean you don't care. It doesn't mean you've given up. It means you've learned to trust. You've handed over control and accepted that worrying won't speed up God's timing. You understand that no amount of stress can add one solution, but faith can unlock doors you never expected. Sometimes God allows chaos not to harm you, but to reveal how much you've grown. The same situation that once would have broken you now barely shakes you. That's not because the problem got smaller, it's because your faith got stronger. Peace becomes proof of maturity. It shows that you've learned how to stand still and let God fight battles you were never meant to handle alone. Peace also serves as direction. When you're making decisions and one path gives you anxiety while another brings calm, pay attention. God often uses peace as a compass. He won't always give you a sign in the sky, but he'll give you peace in your spirit. When something is aligned with God's will, it may still be challenging, but it won't steal your rest. On the other hand, if something looks good on paper but robs you of peace, that's a warning. God may be protecting you from stepping into something that will drain you emotionally, mentally, or spiritually. Peace is not weakness, it's wisdom. There will be moments when people don't understand your calm. They'll ask how you're not stressed, how you're still smiling, how you're still standing. They don't see what's happening behind the scenes. They don't know that God has whispered reassurance into your spirit late at night. They don't know the prayers you've prayed or the faith you've built through hard seasons. Peace doesn't mean the storm has ended. It means God is in the boat with you. And when God is present, fear loses its power. The waves may rise, but they won't sink you. So if you find yourself calm in moments when you should be falling apart, don't ignore it. That peace is your confirmation. It's evidence that God is guiding your steps, steadying your heart, and working everything out in his time. Hold on to that peace. Protect it. Trust it. Because when God gives you peace in the middle of chaos, he's letting you know that the outcome is already handled, even if the process is still unfolding. There are seasons in life when everything feels uncomfortable. You feel stretched, challenged, and pushed beyond what feels familiar or safe. The routines that once worked no longer fit. The mindset that once felt secure now feels limited. In those moments, it's easy to think something is wrong, but often discomfort is a clear sign that God is guiding your life. God never grows us in comfort. Comfort keeps us satisfied with where we are, but growth requires pressure. If God left you where you were comfortable, you would never discover who you were capable of becoming. Discomfort is not God punishing you. It's God preparing you. It's his way of moving you from potential to purpose. When God is about to elevate you, he will first stretch you. He will place you in situations that demand more faith, more discipline, and more courage than you've ever used before. You'll feel unsure because you're being asked to operate at a higher level. Just like muscles grow through resistance, faith grows through challenge. What feels heavy now is strengthening you for what's coming next. Discomfort forces you to depend on God rather than your own ability. When you're in familiar territory, you rely on experience. But when you're in unfamiliar ground, you rely on faith. God will intentionally lead you into places where your skills are not enough so that his power can be revealed through you. That's where transformation happens. Many people pray for change, but resist the discomfort that comes with it. They want new results without new habits, elevation without preparation, and blessings without stretching. But God doesn't work that way. He knows that what you're asking for requires a stronger version of you. So before he changes your circumstances, he changes you. Discomfort also exposes what needs to be refined. It reveals fears you need to face, habits you need to break, and mindsets you need to outgrow. When pressure shows up, weaknesses surface, but so does strength you didn't know you had. God uses uncomfortable seasons to strip away what no longer serves your future. Think about how many times you've grown the most during the hardest periods of your life. Those seasons didn't feel good, but they shaped you. They taught you patience, resilience, humility, and trust. If everything had gone smoothly, you would have remained the same. Growth required discomfort. There will be moments when you want to quit because the stretch feels too painful. But quitting in discomfort often means walking away from destiny. God is not trying to break you. He's trying to build you. Every challenge is shaping your character so you can sustain what He's preparing to give you. Discomfort also means you're no longer living small. When you outgrow a season, it will feel tight before it feels right. God is expanding your capacity, widening your vision, and increasing your responsibility. The pressure is proof that expansion is happening. So when life feels uncomfortable, don't rush to escape it. Ask what God teaching you. Ask how you're being shaped. Trust that the stretch has a purpose. God would never lead you into discomfort without planning your growth on the other side of it. Remember this, comfort makes you complacent, but discomfort makes you capable. If you're being stretched right now, it's because God sees more in you than you see in yourself. And when this season is over, you'll realize that the discomfort wasn't there to stop you. It was there to prepare you. One of the most difficult signs that God is guiding your life is separation. People leave, relationships change, connections fade. Sometimes it happens suddenly without explanation, and other times it happens slowly over time. When it does, it can feel like loss, betrayal, or abandonment. But often separation is not punishment. It is alignment. God knows that not everyone who starts with you is meant to walk with you into your next season. Some people are assigned to your past, not your future. They were meant to teach you something, help you grow for a season, or support you at a certain stage, but they are not meant to stay forever. When God begins to elevate you, He also begins to separate you. We naturally hold on to people because of history, loyalty, or comfort. But God sees the full picture. He sees who is stretching you forward and who is holding you back. When someone consistently drains your energy, weakens your faith, or pulls you away from your purpose, God will create distance, even if it hurts. Separation is painful because it forces you to let go of what feels familiar. You may question yourself and wonder if you did something wrong, but sometimes the separation has nothing to do with mistakes. It has everything to do with growth. You outgrew the environment. You outgrew the mindset. And instead of allowing stagnation, God moved you. God will also separate you from people you love if staying connected would cost you your destiny. That's hard to accept, but purpose requires obedience. You can love people and still recognize that their role in your life has ended. Letting go doesn't mean hatred, it means maturity. Sometimes God removes people quietly. Conversations fade. Calls stop coming. The connection weakens naturally. Other times the separation is loud and painful, marked by conflict or betrayal. But regardless of how it happens, the result is the same. God is clearing space for what's next. Separation also teaches you to depend on God rather than people. When the crowd disappears, you learn who your real source is. God never wanted people to be your foundation. He wanted to be. When people leave, God stays. And in that solitude, your faith deepens, your voice becomes clearer, and your confidence grows stronger. There are seasons when God isolates you, not to punish you, but to develop you. Isolation builds discernment. It sharpens your focus. It removes distractions so you can hear God clearly. What feels like loneliness is often preparation. It's important to understand this. If God removes someone from your life, don't chase them. Don't beg them to stay. Don't force a connection God is trying to end. Trust that if they were meant to stay, God would have made a way. Every forced connection delays your alignment. God never subtracts without intention. Every removal is making room for healthier relationships, stronger support systems, and people who can handle the version of you that is emerging. The next level requires a different circle. So if people are leaving your life, don't panic. Pray for clarity, not control. Thank God for the lesson, the season, and the growth. What you're losing is not greater than what you're becoming. Separation is not the end of love, it's the beginning of alignment. And when you finally step into the life God has prepared for you, you'll realize that letting go was not a loss. It was a necessary step forward. There are moments in life when the same message keeps showing up over and over again. You hear it in a conversation. You see it in a video. You read it in a book or a post. Different voices, different places, but the same theme. At first, you might brush it off as coincidence, but when it keeps returning, it's usually something deeper. Repetition is one of the clearest ways God gets your attention. God knows how easily we get distracted. We're busy, overwhelmed, and often focus on what we want instead of what we need. So when something is important for your growth or your future, God will repeat himself. He doesn't shout, he confirms. He places the same message in front of you until it settles in your spirit. Repeated messages often show up during decision-making seasons. You're unsure which direction to take, and suddenly you keep hearing the same advice, the same warning, or the same encouragement. That's not random. God is guiding you gently, giving you clarity through consistency. When a message keeps returning, it's because it matters. Sometimes the repetition challenges you. You keep hearing about patience, discipline, forgiveness, or faith, topics you'd rather avoid. But God repeats what you're resisting. He knows that what you're avoiding is exactly what will unlock your next level. Growth begins when you stop ignoring what God keeps highlighting. Repetition also brings confirmation. God understands our need for reassurance. He knows that one message might not be enough to convince you, so he sends it again, through another source, at another time, in another way. Each repetition strengthens your confidence that you're not imagining things. You're being guided. There are also moments when God repeats warnings. You feel uneasy about a situation, and that same sense of caution keeps coming back. People tell you to slow down. Circumstances cause delays. That repetition is protection. God is trying to prevent you from stepping into something that looks good but isn't right for you. Ignoring repeated messages can lead to unnecessary struggle. When God speaks and we refuse to listen, life has a way of getting louder. What starts as a whisper can become discomfort. What begins as a nudge can turn into a setback, not as punishment, but as redirection. God wants your attention because he wants your obedience to save you from pain. Repeated messages are also signs of alignment. When God is preparing you for something new, he begins to adjust your mindset. You start hearing about responsibility, leadership, discipline, or purpose because he's shaping you for what's ahead. The repetition prepares you internally before the change happens externally. Sometimes the message doesn't make sense immediately. You don't see how it fits into your life right now. But later, when the moment arrives, you realize God was preparing you in advance. The repetition was training, not confusion. Pay attention to what keeps showing up, what themes keep repeating in your life, what advice keeps finding you, what truth won't leave you alone. That's where God is working. God doesn't waste words. If he keeps repeating something, it's because it's necessary for your growth, your protection, or your future. When you listen and respond, things begin to shift. Clarity increases. Peace settles in. Direction becomes clearer. So don't ignore the repetition. Don't dismiss it as coincidence. Lean into it. Ask God what he's trying to show you. When you listen to what God keeps repeating, you'll realize he's been guiding you the whole time, patiently, lovingly, and intentionally. There are moments when you look back at your life and wonder how you made it through certain seasons. Things happened that should have broken you, losses that felt unbearable, pressure that pushed you to the edge, mistakes that could have cost you everything. Yet somehow you're still here, still standing, still breathing. That alone is one of the strongest signs that God is guiding your life. Your survival is proof of purpose. You didn't survive by accident. There were nights when you felt alone, confused, and exhausted, nights when you questioned your worth and your future. times when giving up felt easier than holding on. But something kept you going. Something wouldn't let you quit. That wasn't luck. That was God sustaining you when you didn't have the strength to sustain yourself. Many people don't realize how close they came to giving up on their destiny. The enemy doesn't attack what isn't a threat. The battles you faced were intense because your purpose is significant. If you were able to survive seasons that were meant to destroy you, it means God has something important for you to do. Survival changes you. It builds resilience. It deepens your faith. It teaches you that you are stronger than you ever imagined. When you've survived heartbreak, disappointment, and failure, you walk differently. You pray differently. You trust differently. Survival becomes testimony. God allows you to survive not just for yourself, but for others. One day, your story will help someone else keep going. Your scars will become proof that healing is possible. Your endurance will inspire faith in people who are on the verge of giving up. God never wastes pain. He transforms it into purpose. There were moments when you didn't even know God was protecting you. He blocked accidents. He prevented decisions that would have ruined your future. He shielded you from consequences you didn't see coming. You thought you were just getting through, but God was covering you the entire time. Survival is also evidence of timing. If God didn't need you anymore, you wouldn't be here. The fact that you woke up today means your assignment isn't complete. No matter how old you are, no matter how many mistakes you've made, as long as you are breathing, God still has a plan for you. Sometimes survival feels quiet. It doesn't come with applause or recognition. It's just you getting through the day, taking one step at a time. But don't underestimate that. Quiet survival is still victory. Every day you choose not to quit is an act of faith. God keeps you alive through storms because He knows what's on the other side. He sees the strength you're building, the wisdom you're gaining, and the character you're developing. You may not see it yet, but you're being prepared to carry something meaningful. Look at everything you've endured and recognize this truth. If it didn't take you out, it didn't defeat you. It refined you. You are not damaged. You are developed. You are not behind. You are becoming. So honor your survival. Stop minimizing what you've overcome. Give God credit for bringing you through what you couldn't escape on your own. Trust that if He carried you this far, He will carry you forward. Your survival is not just a past victory, it's a future promise. God preserved you because your life matters, your story matters, and your purpose is still unfolding.